the maid, telling them to feed and rear them. The maid reared hers on breadcrumbs, and treated it like a child, but Renzolla grumbled, saying, "A pretty thing, truly! As my grandfather used to say, are we living under the Turks? Am I indeed to comb and wait upon dogs?" And she flung the dog out of the window. Some months afterwards the King asked for the dogs, whereat Renzolla, losing heart, ran off again to the fairy, and at the gate stood the old man who was the porter. "Who are you?" said he, "and whom do you want?" Renzolla, hearing herself addressed in this off-hand way, replied, "Don't you know me, you old goat-beard?" "Why do you miscall me?" said the porter. "This is the thief accusing the constable. I a goat-beard, indeed! You are a goat-beard and a half, and you merit it, and worse for your presumption. Wait a while, you impudent woman, I'll enlighten you, and you will see to what your airs and impertinence have brought you." So saying, he ran into his room, and taking a looking-glass, set it before Renzolla, who, when she saw her ugly, hairy visage, was like to have died with terror. Her dismay at seeing her face so altered that she did not know herself cannot be told. Whereupon the old man said to her, "You ought to recollect, Renzolla, that you are a daughter of a peasant, and that it was the fairy that raised you to be a queen. But you, rude, unmannerly, and thankless as you are, having little gratitude for such high favours, have kept her waiting outside your heart, without showing the slightest mark of affection. You have brought the quarrel on yourself. See what a face you have got by it. See to what you are brought by your ingratitude. For through the fairy's spell you have not only changed face, but condition. But if you will do as this white beard advises, go and look for the fairy, throw yourself at her feet, tear your beard, beat your breast, and ask pardon for the ill treatment you have shown her. She is tender-hearted, and she will be moved to pity by your misfortune." Renzolla, who was touched to the quick, and felt that he had hit the nail on the head, followed the old man's advice. Then the fairy embraced and kissed her, and restoring her to her former appearance, she clad her in a robe that was quite heavy with gold, and placing her in a magnificent coach, accompanied with a crowd of servants, she brought her to the King. When the King beheld her so beautiful and splendidly attired, he loved her as his own life, blaming himself for all the misery he had made her endure, but excusing himself on account of that odious goat-face which had been the cause of it. Thus Renzolla lived happy, loving her husband, honouring the fairy, and showing herself grateful to the old man, having learned to her cost that it is always good to be mannerly. End of chapter 8.